Hello everyone, we are asked to determine the value of x from which the determinant of this 3 by 3 matrix is equal to 0. So this is matrix equation. To determine the value of x from this matrix equation, the first thing we need to note is the first element in the first row and the first column of any matrix is positive, while the second element in the first row is negative and the third element in the first row is positive. Now, to do this, what we are going to do is to pick this first element, x minus 13. Then we're going to cover the row and the column of this element. Then we write the remaining element and also applicable to this second element and also the third element. Now let's get started. So we pick the first element, which is what? X minus 13. Then we open a matrix. When we cover the row and the column of x minus 13, so we are left with what? X minus x plus 8, 0, then 2, x minus 1. So we have x minus x plus 8, 0, 2, then x minus 1. So the next element is what? Negative 0. Then we open a bracket again. We cover the row of negative 0, then we cover the column of this 0. So we are left with what? 4, 0, 3, x minus 1. So 4, 0, 3, x minus 1. So the last element is what? Positive 0. Then we open bracket. So when we cover the row and the column of this, we are left with what? 4, x plus 8, then 3 and 2 and 2. So now everything will be equal to 0. Now what I want you to notice, if you look at this already, this 0 is multiplied by this, 0 is also multiplied by this. So 0 multiplied by anything is the same as 0. So 0 plus 0, everything here is going to cancel because of this 0. But if there's no 0, make sure you simplify this 2 by 2 matrix. But now, because of this 0, we need to cancel out these 2. So we're going to focus on here, then we equate it to 0. So we have x minus 13 into the bracket of, remember, in simplifying 2 by 2 matrix, all we need to just do is to cross multiply and take the difference. So we use this guy to multiply by this element minus, which is implied take the difference. Then we use this element to multiply by this element. X minus 1, then multiply by x plus 8. Then we take the difference minus 2 multiplied by 0, 2 multiplied by 0. Then everything will be equal to 0, since the whole of this is going to go because of it's multiplying 0. So now let's simplify this. We have x minus 13 into the bracket of x multiplied by x is going to give us x squared. X multiplied by 8 is going to give us 8x. Negative 1 multiplied by x is going to give us negative 1x. The negative 1 multiplied by 8 is going to give us negative 8. Then minus 2 multiplied by 0 is 0. Then everything will be equal to 0. Now, this place is 0. Negative 0 is the same as empty. So we need to cancel that. Then also, if you look at here, positive 8x minus 1x is going to give us 7x. So the whole of this will be what? X minus 13 into the bracket of x squared plus 8 minus 7 is going to give us positive 7x, then minus 8, which is equal to 0. Now we need to expand this bracket by distributing this term into the bracket. So we start from the first term. X multiplied by x squared is going to give us x cubed. X multiplied by 7x is going to give us positive 7x squared. X multiplied by negative x is going to give us negative 8x. Then we use negative 13. Negative 13 multiplied by x squared is going to give us negative 13x squared. Negative 13 multiplied by 7x is going to give us negative 91x. Then negative 13 multiplied by negative 8 is going to give us positive 104, which is equal to 0. Now let's combine the like term. Here we have x cubed. Then here we have 7x squared. Then 13x squared is going to give us what? Negative 6x squared. Then here we have negative 8x, then negative 91x is going to give us negative 99x, then plus this constant 104, which is equal to 0. So now what do you notice? We have cubic equation because x is raised to 3. Now from here you have to watch very careful. We are going to do some manipulation in order for us to factor something out. So we have x to power 3, x to power 3. Then this minus 6x squared, we can rewrite minus 6x squared as what? Minus x squared minus 5x squared. If you add minus x squared minus 5x squared, it's going to give us minus 6x squared. So now if you look at the next element, we have negative 99x, and here the coefficient of x squared here is negative 5. So we're going to begin with what? Positive 5x. Now what are we going to add to this positive 5x to give us 99x? So when we subtract minus 104x from this 5x, is going to give us 99. You can use a calculator to test. 5 minus 104 is going to give us 99. Then x. Then we rewrite the constant, which is positive 104. Everything will be equal to 0. We do this in order for us to factor out something. So now the next thing we're going to do, if you look at here, we need to group the term. We group this, and group this. Here we have what? X cubed minus x squared. The least common factor here is x squared because it has the lowest power. So we factor out x squared, then we open bracket. X cubed divided by x squared will remain x. Then minus x squared divided by x squared will be minus 1. Then also we are going to factor out something out from here. So what are we going to factor? We are going to factor out 5x. But because of this negative, so we factor out negative 5x. Then we open bracket. Negative 5x squared divided by negative 5x is going to remain only positive x because negative and negative is going to cancel. So here we have positive 5x divided by negative 5x. It will remain only minus 1. Then here we are going to factor out something. So we are going to factor out 104 is common here. Because of this negative, we factor out negative 104. Then we open bracket. Negative 104 divided by negative 104, then it will remain only this x. Then 104 divided by negative 104, it will remain negative 1, which is equal to 0. Now what do you notice? We have x minus 1, x minus 1, x minus 1. So x minus 1 is common in the whole term. So we factor out x minus 1. Then we open a bracket. So here will remain only x squared. Then here will remain only 5x and minus 104. So everything will be equal to 0. So now, what are we going to do? When two terms multiply itself and is equal to 0, it's either the first term is 0 or the second term is 0. So we have x minus 1 to be equal to 0, or x squared minus 5x minus 104 will be equal to 0. So when we take this negative 1 here, so x now be equal to negative positive 1. So here is the first value of x that will satisfy this determinant equation. But since we have cubic equation, our expectation is to get 3 possible values of x that will satisfy this equation. Now to get the remaining 2, we are going to solve this quadratic equation. We call this quadratic equation because the highest power of the variable here is 2. Now to do that, so you need to copy this because I'm going to clean this space to solve the value of x from these two equations. This is our equation: x squared minus 5x minus 104 equal to 0. We have many methods of solving quadratic equation, but in this case, let's apply formula method quickly. Remember quadratic formula: x is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b squared, b squared minus 4ac, everything all over 2a. And from this equation, our a is the first coefficient of x, which is 1. Then b is the coefficient of x, which is negative 5. Then yc equal to constant negative 104. Now let's substitute this into this formula. Negative b, and b is negative 1. So x now will be equal to negative into b, which is negative 5. Remember, this negative is constant from the formula, plus or minus square root of b squared is going to be negative 5 square minus 4 into A is 1, then into C is negative 104. So everything all over 2 multiplied by A, which is 1. So x now be equal to negative multiplied by negative 5 is going to give us positive 5 plus or minus square root of, if you simplify everything inside the square root, we are going to have 441, then everything all over 2 multiplied by 1 is the same as 2. So x now be equal to 5 plus or minus square root of, sorry, when you take the square root of 441 is a perfect square. So we're going to have 21 over 2. So therefore, x now be equal to, we take the positive and the negative. 5 plus 21 is going to give us 26. Then 26 divided by 2 is going to give us a 13. Or x2 will be equal to 5 minus 21 is going to give us 5 negative 21 is going to give us negative 16. Then negative 16 divided by 2 is going to give us negative 8. So therefore, x1 is equal to 1, x2 is equal to 13, while x3 is equal to negative 8. So this is how to determine all possible value of x that will satisfy this determinant equation. Thank you for watching, and please follow us for more video like this. Thanks.